Hello and welcome to this tutorial on Microsoft Excel. In this tutorial, I will show you how to summarize a data like this, the one that I have, into a summary table by using pivot table. So we will discuss about the pivot table, but before I do the demonstration, let me just explain or give you some few notes on how Excel does the data processing. So in steps of data processing path in Excel, it goes like this. Your data, source data, goes into worksheets. Okay, so Excel file is made up of worksheets. So if you look at this data here, I have one worksheet which is the master table, but if it's a big data file, you will have several worksheets line up right here. At the moment, in my case, I only have one, so that is what I mean. Your source data that Excel stores, this is more or less like the database in Excel. This is where the data are stored in worksheets. Okay, now in order to process the data, we need to, second step is to convert the data into tables. That's important because in order to cross-reference the data, okay, in the old Excel file, for example, okay, if I have this data set here and I want to access this column, number of rows or payment data or even districts, from another worksheet, for example here, okay, how can I access it to this one here? Okay, it's impossible because I am in another worksheet. So that is why it is important to specify to Excel to remember this data set as a table. So once you specify that as a table, then Excel will remember this as a table, and then we can access that data through formula or equal sign by in any of the worksheets. So even if I have this worksheet or another worksheet, then I can still manipulate the data in this master table from any of the worksheets. So that's why it is important to name the data in the worksheet as a table. So that is why it's important. I did a separate video on how to create the table, so you can check that in the channel list as well. Okay, so once the table is gone into the data, then we summarize the table data by pivot table. Pivot table is one of the dynamic tables. It is actually it's a table, but it's a summary table. What it does is that you can push or you can arrange and you can summarize the data in the tables the way you want it. So in our case, what I'm trying to do, my information need for this table is I want a table that gives me schools by district, and then I can see the enrollment and the amount of pay. At the moment, there's condemned there, there's how many I don't know how many schools are in Kandep or how many schools are in Lagai Pogara, which schools are in it, because the data is all appearing in this table as it is provided by the education department. So my job is to get this data organized into districts so that I can see the schools by district, and that gives me a clear picture of how much money has been paid and into the districts, and also the district enrollment figures of the students. So that's my requirement for this data. Okay, that's what I will do. So I go back to the notes, and let me make one more point and summarize. So I will say summarize the table data by pivot table, and that is very important, because after the from pivot table you can now put it to, it's easy to create a chart, okay, chart or some visual displays. Okay, so that is the process. So when it comes to Excel data processing, it goes to the worksheets, then it's converted to tables, and then it's summarized the table by pivot table, and from the pivot table you create a chart or display. That's exactly what I will do in this tutorial. So let's go. Now in this is the data I have. First thing first, I'm going to convert this into a table first. Okay, so there are two ways to do it. You can go to insert, yeah, insert tab, and then we can select table. Okay, so you can say insert and table here. Okay, insert table. Now the shortcut is you can press Control plus T. Okay, so if you press Control plus T, or you go to insert, you go to insert table, you'll still get the same. You can see that the pop-up or the chip text says that it's Control T. That's what I'm talking about when I say press Control plus T. So I click that, and it will give me a create table dialog box. And the first thing I need to do is I have to my table as address, because I see that the school name, school code, school name, the first row here is the header. Okay, so that's why I say my table as address. So I will check this box and say okay. Now the table is changed into a colorful table to say that this is the table data set that Excel will remember. And the most important thing is we have to name this table. Okay, so naming the table is very important, because Excel will remember that name and associate it with this table. So you go to this table name text box, right here, and type in anchor fees. Okay, so that's all. I will just name it as anchor fees, or fees for or whatever table name that you want to give, and I press enter to accept it. Now you see these filter buttons, and this table design contextual tab is added because this is now in a table format. If I come out of here, out of the table, you'll see that the table contextual tab is not there. So I click again and I'll get a table, contextual tab with all the command tools that are needed to actually work with this table. So I'll remove the filter button, and then I have to select the style. Okay, the style is very important. So especially if you like colors, okay, so I can get the color of my choice, if I green or pink or medium or dark, okay, depending on which color I want to work. This is very good because the default Excel spreadsheet layout is just black and white, gray type, okay, so it's not good to have that like this, okay. So you can have it, but if you want to prefer a more color one, then I can select that. So this one is okay with me. And then the branded rows meaning that first is orange and then is white to distinguish each record, but if I remove it, then it's just a white. But I prefer it to be leave it as branded row. And now I'm almost done with my table, and this is my fees table. So that's the first step. It's in table now. My next process now is as per this note. I'm now going to convert this. I've done this one already, okay. Now I'm going to go and summarize this data by pivot table, okay, and then later on I'll create a chart to display it visually. So I click anywhere here and I go to the insert again, and I have two options here under this under the tables command group here. I have the recommended table and I have the pivot tables, okay. So those are the two. Table is grayed out because I've already converted this into the table. So what I'm going to do now is I can click on the recommended table and see some, like I can see this is exactly what I was looking for, because I want to see the school code by district, and then there's some other recommendations by Excel, but I don't need that, so I'll just click that. I'll just go and do a manual one by clicking on pivot table here. Now if you look at the table range, it now tells me that because I have named it, it says okay, this summary is going to be based on this ENGA fees table. That's okay. And then you have the option to insert it in a new worksheet or existing worksheet. Here I recommend, when you are doing big data or the data file is long, okay, or big, then you need to put it in the new worksheet, okay, so that's your summary. So I recommend you click the new worksheet. But if it's a small data set, you can click existing worksheet and click on anywhere you want to place it. But for this one, I prefer it to be on a different worksheet, so I'll click OK. And now I have been given the pivot field list here, and I have the pivot table right here. Okay, at this moment pivot table is not showing anything, but as I put the pivot from here, it's going to work. So my data need is very simple. I just want the data to be organized by district, because this is for one district, so I don't need the province. I just want them to be by district. So now you will see that district data is in place. I have Kandep, Kombiam, Lagai, Pogera, Wabe, Goven, Manda. So these are the districts in Enga province. Now I want the two columns that I want to deal with, the enrollment and the amount. So I will select the enrollment and place it under the values column. Okay, so when I put the enrollment table in, you will see that automatically, because it's a numeric field, it's now put the value as sum, so that's fine. And then second field that I need is the payment, so I'll go here and insert it as payment. So now if you look at this, it's nicely done and it's put into a summary that I prefer. So I'll go back, click in here, and I will now name this as total students, and then this one will be total payment. Okay, so that's my summary, and here I can put it as district. Okay, now one more data that is missing is I want to know the total number of schools in each of the districts, because this is based on the number of the schools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the school name, which is a text field, and I will now put it right here, okay, in between at the top, and then you will see that it's now count, meaning that it's now the count the number of schools that are in each district. So now I will let number of schools. All right, so now it's done. So if I look at my master table, I have 72 records, that's 3, but if you look at the -1, which is the row heading, column heading, then you have 72 schools. So that's fine, you see. So it's summarized now as 72 schools, and then I have 35, and this is the summary of the payments. So now I can format it, so I'll just make them stand out like that, and then I can select this number because this is just a money payment. So I'll right mouse click, and then I will number format, and I'm going to specify it as currency, so the kina sign will be added to it to make it a currency, and that is it. So whichever the quarter, probably the last quarter of 2022, money that was paid to Enga provincial Enga government in terms of the tuition fee, free education tuition fee to schools, we can see that I will right mouse click, and I'll also sort it out. So let me see if I can sort this by largest to the smallest. So Wabek district has 16 schools, total of 9,275 students, and they were paid 139,440. Ogara came second with 14 schools, and then Wabanmanda has 14 schools, and Kompiam has 20 schools but less number of students, so they receive 89,000. So that's a very pretty nice data. So I can for decision making purposes, so I can go to the design, and I can also specify the color that I want, so I can get the nicely colored table, and I can even increase the font as well. So let me see if I can increase the font to 12, and that's the data that you will present to like the provincial government or whoever is an authority in Enga to make decisions on. So this is the pivot table, and this is your data. if you start adding data in here, as data goes in here, the summary, pivot summary table will change. Okay, will change accordingly. So that's why it's important to do that and convert to a pivot table. Once that is done, I can now, final step is now I can, that's now my summary is done. Now I can do a quick chart of that data. So I'll just go click here, analyze pivot and pivot chart. Okay, so I'll just select that and I'll put the column chart like this, and then maybe a 3D chart, and I think that one looks okay. So I'll just select that, and here we can see the districts, the number of students, and the money that was paid. Okay, so I can format this and increase the font size and make it maybe 12, and you can see also the number format. Okay, so you can also see that these are the districts and this is the total number of students, but you can change the layout. Okay, so I go to format or design and you can change the layout. I think this one looks much better. Yeah, this one looks much better because the table is design also included in the bottom. Okay, so I'll change this and I'll say I'll double click that chart and I will say free education fees paid by education department for fourth quarter 2024. I don't know whether it's fourth quarter or I can't confirm the data, but I'll it's just a sample of how you can format your data. And yeah, so that's how you can see the table being displayed here as well. So I'll make this data bold so you can see the chart there. This is not a tutorial on chart, so I won't go further into that. I'll just remove all this, hide all the fill buttons, and then this is a nice so I'll just put this one as payments or money amount in Kina. Okay, and there it is. So these are the districts and these are the amount that was so Kandep is the, so if you look at it, Wabek leads the place, then followed by Lagai Pogara, and then Waben Manda, and then Kompiam and Kandep. So that's how you create summary data based on this one here. So I can, final step is I can remove this grid lines, and now it looks like a real data, and you can see that this is the table and this is the graph, and you can copy this and put it in a PowerPoint or anything like that. So that is how you create a pivot summary data table in Excel.